have a saying that I tell people at my company, and I think it drives them bananas. But I always say I can't wait to see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
Both in trouble and in good times, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Hi, Dave. First of all, thank you for earmarking the time. I know we'll be pretty busy running around managing a lot of things. Welcome to Pack Talk with VJCV. People who will be listening to this, this is Dave Erickson, the CEO of freeconferencecall.com. So, Dave, how many calls you were handling before the start of COVID-19 on a monthly basis, and after COVID-19, what is the increase that you have?
Oh, okay. First, hey, I want to say thanks for having me on, BJ, and appreciate the opportunity to do an interview with you. Yeah, so Free Conference Call is a pretty large global service, so it's broken into many different kind of areas. And some of them are, more limited than others, and so growth during this time has been interesting on a lot of different fronts. I'm not sure that like an overall growth number works, or that we would say, we have one exactly. It's literally growing every day. As soon as our databases get done processing the day, there's, additional growth already happening. But what we've seen a huge growth in our VoIP services, and we've seen it in areas like Turkey, Iran, Iraq, huge growth in India. The growth in India is, a few thousand%.
Wow.
Still continuing to grow, right? March 15th.
Yeah. So now getting into understanding Free Conference Call and the history behind that, things like that. So just want to understand, prior to 26 October 2001, that's when you picked up the domain. Prior to that, what was Dave Erickson doing? Prior to that?
Well, so I talked to a guy in another deal I was doing. It was a finance deal, and he told me that what's a cool thing is Telecom, because you can make money while you sleep. And I'm a high school graduate, and so I don't have any university in a particular field, and I've always kind of gone and done what I wanted to do. I've made concrete curb and gutter machines, to done finance, to just all different kinds of things. But I thought, wow, that's interesting, and so I wanted to get into Telecom.
I also heard that you tried coming out with some newspapers.
Oh yeah, you would have. Yeah, a long time ago. As a kid. No, I think it's funny that you bring that up. But that sort of says a lot about who I am. I was able to, at a very early age, start mowing lawns and doing gardening for the neighbors. But I always did what I wanted to do, and found that if I just did a better job than the guy next to me, there was always somebody that wanted me to do it. And that's kind of what we did with Free Conference Call.
Interesting.
I wanted to get into telecom, and so there was facets of Free Conference Call that are, a bootstrap guy that's trying to get into an industry that's difficult. And parts of it's just running faster and better than, the people that were already there. And,
awesome.
we created the self-service conference call, and you can literally, get an account on Free Conference Call in seconds.
Yes. And to everyone who is listening to this, we are doing this interview on freeconferencecall.com, and it's been pretty hassle-free as of now. So any specific reason for picking up the date 26 October 2001? Any particular reason for that, or you just thought that, okay, this is the day I want to buy the domain?
Well, so I had been messing around with Telecom and trying to figure out ways to do something in Telecom. And I kind of got stuck on screen sharing and video conferencing and things, because they were sort of a new field back then, and there was kind of inroads. But when I came up with the idea for the conference call that paid for itself, I just started putting it out there to see if people would take it. And at the time, it didn't have the name free conference call. And, but people wanted it, and it spread. And you could tell that the problem was they didn't know what brand or what product they were using. It was like, what is this thing? It works great. and so I needed to come up with a name, and I thought of that domain name, and then I thought, why couldn't I just call it a free conference call?
Well, yeah. So the reason why I asked you, because 26th October is special for me because that's my birthday.
Well, hot diggity dog, it's my brother's birthday too. He was born in 1969.
Wow, okay. I was born almost a decade after that, but anyways, when I first looked up the details of freeconference.call.com, I saw 26th October. I was like, seriously, it's like when I was celebrating my 21st birthday, you were picking up a domain at $10, and now it's like a huge entity in itself and helping people to be connected across the globe. So for the initial 3 years, you were the only employer who was there in freeconferencecall.com. How did you manage that?
Well, I wanted to do it. So everything, I didn't have the money to pay people to do things. So I built everything myself and arranged kind of deals where I could use somebody's infrastructure for part of it and things like that. So I kind of really in the beginning knitted it together in kind of a funky way, got proof of concept, and then, with volume got better and better relationships, but it wasn't, it was 2.5 years or something, close to 3 years. It was like 900 and some days where I did everything around the clock for that company. I even answered the customer support 24 hours a day. I would sleep and wake up to answer the call, and somebody would call me from somewhere and basically read the questions on the website to me. I'd say, I know this test. But it was just, the desire to do it, and it was happening. And, the fondest thing I have with Free Conference Call is the stories of the users. And so it was very intimate in the beginning. A lot of people called and learned conferencing from me and how to use an account, or would call and tell me the cool things they were using it for, but they felt very much like I was part of their collaborative,
Okay, great. Have people realized that the initial 3 years, the people who have called and spoke to you, have they realized now in the recent past that they were talking to the CEO of freeconferencecall.com?
Yeah, I think I still have some very good relationships from them, and a few of them are in Mary Kay Cosmetics, where I had some girls there that we really taught Mary Kay Cosmetics how to go from being a neighborhood business to a nationwide business by using a conference call. And so I made some friends during that time, that they'll often say oh my gosh, you're the CEO now of this really big company. And it's just, if the Free Conference Call story didn't have that beginning, VJ, it would be something different. But that's a very interesting beginning.
Yeah. So when did you start generating revenue, and how did you start generating revenue?
So it was April 1st, 2004. I was looking for a phone company that would host my conferencing bridges. At the time, I had 6 million minutes of conferencing in total. It took me, a couple years to get there. And I found a phone company in Iowa that said, hey, we'll give it a try. We're looking for something to do. And so that the first minute I put on there was April 1st, and they paid me somewhere the mid of May. And so I made the first money in the mid of May. And they paid me early just because they were so happy to see all of the volume I put on.
Wow. Yeah, they got an increase in traffic because of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very small phone company. When I started with it, it had 200 lines
Okay.
total
Mm-hmm.
in the whole phone company, and it was in Iowa. It was small, and we added 2,024 lines there.
Amazing.
So 10 times the size.
Soon after you got going and things were going good, you had another FCC coming and telling you that the Federal Communications Commission putting some guidelines, and then you were taken out for a couple of months.
Well, so yeah, what happened is because I started with that small phone company, I made small phone companies big, and there's kind of regulations for big phone companies and some exemptions for small phone companies.
Okay.
And so making those small companies big created a problem regulatorily, and the FCC had to do something about it.
Okay.
And we were actually, participated with the FCC. We felt like we were very helpful. We were kind of unique in the way that we did business, and so it was something new for them. There was people that couldn't understand it. There was people that liked it. There was people that, didn't like it inside the FCC. But we came out with some rules, and we were ultimately, from the time they put the rules out, we were able to 5 times our traffic and revenue under the new rules, in complete compliance. So rules aren't bad so long as, they're clear and you can work with them. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Is freeconferencecall.com absolutely free for people to use? And I could see that there are some contributions which is possible to be done voluntarily, like $4 and $6 and all on your website. So can you explain a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So free conference call is absolutely free. And, historically, we've been able to make money doing other things in kind of the telecom economics world, and have done well there. But, times are changing, and there's less and less of that available to, any carrier, any conferencing company. And so what we decided to do, and it was kind of an experiment, but I thought, hey, you know what? I have to keep free because that's like, I've seen so much good, right? I've seen so much. Like, I don't know how you let anybody, let you stop doing it. Like, no, we're going to always do it for free. And I reached out to my users and I said, hey, if you can pay what's fair, right? Just what's fair, what you think is fair for the service, and you can pay. It'd be cool if you could pay, because then I could keep it free for those that can't pay. And it was overwhelming. We had thousands and thousands and thousands of people come in, and not only just pay for something, like the pay what you can, which is donation they came and they just buy some. I'll get hold music, or I'll get this, because anything you do, payment to the company, we're going to use it to provide free conferencing for others. Wow. And free conferencing is not just needed in a pandemic. It's needed all the time. There's charities, students, so many people. When I gave away conferencing for free, Mary Kay, cosmetic girls, direct selling people, all kinds of people that couldn't afford conferencing back then. We lowered the price. Now everything's competitive and typically a lot cheaper. But there's still a big need for free, and it's not free for 30 days or free for 90 days. It's free. It needs to be free. Yeah, and that's the idea. And there's so many things that are interesting, because sometimes, it's not right for any one person to have to pay for a call, right? Like 4 people want to get together to do something, you can use a free conference call. Nobody has to be responsible to pay. So there's lots of reasons for that. I think it's needed.
Yeah. So just want to make things clearer for the people who will listen to this. So freeconferencecall.com has an option wherein people can dial into the conference call directly from their mobile. So there is no internet connectivity. It is not mandatory to have internet connectivity, right?
Well, so you can connect via VoIP on our app. and you can connect via video conferencing, data conferencing, all together with the PSTN or, the telephone system. You can meet just on telephone. You can meet just on app. You can meet just on video.
Great.
But you can do all simultaneously.
Great. So if I'm sitting at a remote location and I don't have an internet connectivity, but I still want to get connected to a conference call, so I can use freeconferencecall.com and I can dial in and listen to the conversation and be part of the conversation.
100%, yeah.
Great. So now coming to see, one of the major things when we get on a phone call is in terms of the privacy issue. So there are two privacy issues that I think are of prime concern. One, because there is an option of recording and people can listen to your calls and all. So how do you make sure that the calls are secured? That is one. Second, now with people using the app as well as the website and the web services, how do you make sure that the app and the web page is only looking at the particular content that is required and not into the other content which will be available on a person's mobile or on a laptop or a computer?
Okay, yeah. So there's kind of different layers and different layers of security. And so starting with the most secure conference you can do is via telephone, where everyone calls in. There is a roll call. The number of people on the phone are counted. You touch *2. It tells you how many people are on the bridge. If they match, then you lock the conference. No one else can join. That's the most secure scenario.
Great.
When you look at conferencing, and this is part of user education, I would say, the access code is not a security code.
Okay.
It's an access code. It's the opposite. It's given out to people to get into the conference, right?
Yes.
Passcodes are kept from people to keep people out of the conference.
Oh, okay.
So anytime you invite people to a conference, right, there's going to be the possibility of maybe someone joining that received something that they shouldn't have or heard something or somebody shared it with them. And so conducting a roll call and a caller count, going through the attendee list, making sure there's nobody online that shouldn't be online, and then locking your conference is a way to get to security.
Great.
As far as back-end information goes, Free Conference Call is a private company, and we have never sold any of our information to anybody ever.
Wow.
And we don't use our information to sell you other services, meaning we don't try and figure out, hey, you might be interested in some other guy's service based on your calling patterns or based on who you talk to or something like that, and then offer you those services. We don't look at that information. So I don't like, and I know that lots of companies do it, I don't like it when my information is sold. I don't like it when my information's used. If people want to advertise to me, they could ask me what I want to see. Maybe I might tell them, but I don't think it's my duty to. And so I've just never used anybody's information, and as long as I'm CEO of the company, that's the way this is going to be.
Amazing. Sure that similarly you would have been looking at in terms of the required security measures for the backend information which gets collected, or you are taking a good care of the privacy when people are using a mobile app or a web page, right?
Yes. And privacy is sort of a moving target, right? As you do more and more to keep it private, more and more things come about, new technologies that you want to add that open up, different things. And so I don't think anybody can say that they're locked down 100%. And if they were locked down 100%, 5 minutes later, I don't know that they are, right? It's a very time-sensitive thing, yeah.
True. So is there any restriction on the duration of each call? Is there any limitation?
On the duration? So we do limit the duration to 6 hours. And the reason is that if ever a phone gets hung, what they call hung, then it kills the call after 6 hours.
Okay.
And ultimately, you can continue conferencing past 6 hours just so long as there's always fresh new people coming in.
Okay.
To extend the 6 hours, right?
Oh, okay. Wow, 6 hours is quite a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, conference calls that happen on, depositions, court cases where they'll leave a conference call open for 8 hours.
Oh, okay. Understood. And how many people can connect at simultaneously? How many people can be on a call?
1,000.
Oh, wow. 1,000 people on a call at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
We typically see things, calls for direct selling, 700-800 people. We see prayer calls go, above the 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we try and move them to somewhere else when they're that big.
Okay. And how have you been managing the demand curve which has gone up in the last 15-20 days? How are you managing that?
Around the clock.
Because I'm sure that you would have faced bandwidth issues and connectivity issues. Because all said and done, because this is a demand which is unprecedented. So definitely there would be a slight amount of glitches everywhere. So how is the team coping up in terms of doing it round the clock?
Yeah, so I don't know what it's like in other conferencing companies, but it's interesting. Pre-conference call, because we have sort of a different culture than the typical corporate culture where they're just trying to make stock price. And we think that we're actually doing something by providing free communication. The employees here, I think, could work anywhere. I've got some really brilliant guys. They could get paid a lot more. They could work anywhere, but they love it here. And I can't say enough about my team because sometimes they make me feel like an inadequate leader because they're all so good and so on top of all of their stuff. And they just went, without even being asked, full time. They just, this is their network. They take it personal. So it's kind of beautiful, right? I mean, it's been tiring.
Yeah.
But
at a time, sorry to interrupt you. At a time when people are running behind better career opportunities, it is great to have a team who are personally committed to an organization. It's great.
Yeah, and it's just I think like it's super rewarding for them, and we're seeing really great results, and we're really happy with the network that we built. It could be bigger. Everything could be bigger now.
Yes,
definitely. And we're doubling the size of it and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I listened to one of your conference presentations. I think startup conference or something like that, wherein you said that at one point in time you were praying that we don't want to have more customers coming on board because you were really at the peak of your bandwidth. So
yeah, that was in 2005.
Yeah.
2005, the company kept growing, and I didn't have the money to grow the equipment as fast as it was growing, and I stopped all marketing and everything, and it just kept growing. It wouldn't stop. We just made it. But,
yeah, that's the best situation for someone to have, but then yes, definitely you need to match up the speed also. But so now you would be pretty much happy with the growth that you have having currently because now it's pretty. The company has grown manifold times, and now we can cater to those such demands pretty easily compared to those times.
Yeah, I think things are a lot different than then, and really the money to invest in the networks there is just the sheer physical time of building it out. And we specialize in the telecom piece, where a lot of people are just doing just the voice, and that's the most difficult piece to scale.
Yeah. So there are a lot of competition out there in the market. Say to name a few of them, like Google Hangouts, Zoom, or say RingCentral, Uber Conference. So there are a lot of them and many more to add. What is so special, or what is the USP of freeconferencecall.com?
Just that we're community supported. Our users are helping other users get access to free conferencing. I think the other companies are willing to do a 30-day free trial or 90-day free trial, or during the pandemic give away some free services. But this is our business model all the time. We didn't on the conferencing side. In India, we removed the paywalls for some of the other services, but all in all, we're always doing free conferencing.
Great. So when someone is dialing into freeconferencecall.com, the music that they get to hear is Sunshine Soul, right? By the New York Jazz Ensemble. And I personally felt that for the current situation, when there is a pandemic and people are looking for coming out and getting some sunlight, this is a really amazing music that you have as a whole tune, as a Sunshine Soul.
Yeah, and I think all our souls need a little sunshine during quarantine.
Yeah. You also have special phone lines running during the Christmas. You call that the Santa's hotline. So can you speak something about that?
Yeah, so everybody knows who Santa Claus is. My brother thought it would be really good to set up a voicemail form so that kids could leave messages and tell them what they wanted. And the first versions of it were a little rough, but we got a pretty good Santa voice. And it's not surprising to see 7-8 million kids call in every year to leave them a message.
Wow. So it's like they call up on a toll-free number and then they can leave a message for the Santa.
It's just a regular toll number. It's not toll-free. And then he lets them know that it's him, and he says some of his Santa stuff, and then they leave messages. And then a text is sent out to whoever's phone they called in on, and then that's a different number. And if you call in from that same phone, it plays your kid's message back to you.
Wow.
So you can hear it and save it.
So what is next for freeconferencecall.com? After I hope this pandemic and the COVID-19 situation eases out maybe as soon as possible, maybe in a month's time or a couple of months' time. So what's next coming up for freeconferencecall.com?
So we're going to look into different video display options. I think that in all of this, conferencing's changed a little bit. We typically did the conference calling from the office. Now we're doing the conference calling from the home. So I think there's some adjustments and things there. We're going to launch a soft phone so that free conference call starts to have a suite of products where you can do stuff like receive calls, for example. And so every app that is downloaded worldwide actually has a U.S. phone number in it. And if you call that U.S. phone number from the U.S., it rings the app. And so very nice communication tools. So we're going to try and make it easier for you to do what you do at home now, and be very cost effective, I think.
And I could see that your marketing team is doing some nice images with the work from home scenarios. So how are you personally coping up with the current situation in terms of sitting at home? And I hope you're staying at home and doing the work. So how do you cope with this?
So I go into the office for about an hour twice a week, just because being the CEO, I have to sign some stuff and do things. And our office is down to just a couple people that have to be there. And then customer support's a little different story because we have to keep a team in customer support. And so they're going and living by certain rules to make sure that they're safe. But I'm enjoying working at home. I think I'm more effective at home.
Your own personal space and no extra meetings. You decide upon the meetings, and so more productive.
Yeah, I think, and I have less interruptions, right? So there's a lot lot of people that want to talk to me when I'm at the office that do it more impromptu. And now that we're all at home, they schedule things a little better and make it easier, and so I'm able to make more use of my day.
Yeah, definitely. You are now CEO of CareerX.com as well, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell a little bit about that? What is that into?
Yeah, so I mean, the kind of the global picture is that, carriers have been serving customers for years. They've been looking to serve the end user. I think that carriers need to learn to serve the application that serve the end user. And so Carrier X is set up to serve applications versus end user. Because nowadays the applications are the carrier's end user. If you work with, an Uber or any of the conferencing applications, soft phone applications, virtual PBXs, the administrator end user should have total control, total network level control over their telephone infrastructure, all the way to the tandem switch, which means that they can control everything, like how their calls ingress. And if there's issues, then they can make the changes. Rather than this weird hierarchical, kind of cold, very 1980s sort of corporate way of doing carrier business, right? I think it's not good. I think it should be simple, very free-flowing, and super agile and dynamic with network level control at the end user's hand.
You're a bootstrap startup, right? You have not taken any investment into your company till now.
Correct.
Great. You started off in 2001. That's when a lot of companies now currently who are market leaders or the startup unicorns who were not even there during that time. And there are a lot of small startups which would have just come into the market in the last 1 to 2 years time, or who are right now ideating a product or something like that. I'm not talking specifically to the telecom industry in general. So someone like you who have been in a startup for the last 19 years and managing as a bootstrap startup without any external funding, and also you would have seen the 2008-9 subprime crisis, recession, and things like that. What is that who as a message you tell to the startups who might be struggling to get things going currently?
Yeah, so I think you just can't pay attention to the doom and gloom or the reasons not to do something. I have a saying that I tell people at my company, and I think it drives them bananas. But I always say I can't wait to see what happens next. Both in trouble and in good times, I can't wait to see what happens next. And I think that's good advice for a startup, right? If you're someone struggling with a startup and putting it together, you know that fate, timing, all have something to do with it, and that's not reason to not be prepared. That's reason to be prepared and waiting for the next thing to happen. And it's not so much what's happening right now, but it's what's gonna happen. And a good startup can take what's gonna happen and make it into something. And so I think that's the thing to look at. So
if I put it in other words, you have to wait for the sunshine and be ready for the sunshine. Yeah.
People used to tell me when I was starting up free conference call, that'll never work. And it's like, yeah, I know, but if I just get some customers, that's better than not having any customers. And I'll be ready for the next thing, right? And unless you have some momentum or some going concern, when opportunity presents itself, you're flat-footed and you're not going to respond properly.
That's true. Great. And I got one more question. The last 3 to 4 days time, freeconferencecall.com has got some unwanted attention. I could see on Twitter and things like that. Do you have anything on that?
You mean on the government using it?
Yeah.
No. So it's very funny you bring that up. It's interesting. So as I told you in the beginning, or when you asked about privacy, that the conference call is very secure.
Yes.
So
there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, free conference calls are really secure because guys like Jared can get an access code 1 second and give it out to his friends. It has no time for anybody to know what he's doing. And government has been using free conference calls since way back in the beginning in FBI stakeout, police stakeout, because people don't hear it over the radio waves. You can't track it. They don't know which access code you're using. And so we've been used and subpoenaed by the government for, other governments, agencies using it with different individuals and things. Free conference call is very popular in the secure conferencing community.
Wow. So it's interesting. So I just brought about this point because I was looking at Twitter and what freeconferencecall.com is doing in the last a couple of days. So that's when this came up. So I thought I'll just ask you. So, but I'm really amazed to understand that it's a secured line wherein even the FBI and other people can actually make sure that they are connected and they use this in the right way.
Yeah, so we're approved for use in all government agencies across the board, but it's just there's a way to use a free conference call that just makes it really difficult to know what just happened, right?
Wow. Yes.
You get a quick access code, you jump on a call, you do a roll call, you do a call account, and you lock the conference. And unless the lines are tapped, it's very secure.
Great. So that's it from my side, Dave. It has been wonderful talking to you and understanding the journey that you have gone through in the last 19 years and the way your team is putting together new ideas and you are standing up and taking the pandemic head on and helping people to keep connected across the globe. And I hope you and your team keep doing this and come out with new innovative stuff. All the best.
Yes. And thank you very much for being a user. And I hope you're doing well and staying safe where you're at.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we are staying safe. We have not stepped out for last 3 weeks now, so we are staying safe. And thank you for that concern, Dave. It was wonderful talking to you. And
okay, very good.
Yeah, take care, Dave.
All right, thank you, VJ.
Thank you.